Hi, it's Danny from Danny's Sports Bar here in Pattaya, looking ahead at the week in the world of sports. Quite a few interesting matchups this week. We're going to focus on a few of them. Start off with Liverpool. And we've talked about Liverpool quite a bit the last few weeks because, obviously, their season hasn't gone as well as it went last year. But they beat Aston Villa last Saturday, and this week they have two very significant games, very important games, starting off with tonight, Tuesday night, late night, 3 a.m., Liverpool against Real Madrid in the Champions League. Liverpool beat Real Madrid in the Champions League stage last year, but that's the only win they've had in the last 9 games against Real Madrid. They had one draw. That's all since 2009. So they haven't had a lot of success against them. So far in the Champions League this year, Liverpool won 2, lost 1. Real Madrid have won all 3 of theirs. That's really a matchup that everyone's going to be looking for. When the fixtures came out for the Champions League, that was one a lot of people focused on, and given the way things are going, obviously very important. Liverpool at the weekend, on Sunday night, will play Manchester City in the Premier League. Obviously the win over Aston Villa put Liverpool, at least put an end to their streak of 4 straight losses in the Premier League. But they're still a little ways down, further than they want to be. Oh, not actually in the table too far, still 3rd place, but just behind Manchester City, which has been on a little bit of a roll, and of course Arsenal, and both those teams are going to be looking for a win to keep pace with Arsenal, which is the early leader in the Premier League. Only 10 games in out of 38. Nothing's been decided yet, but this is always a very important game, and given the way 2 teams are this year and the way Arsenal's gotten up to the start, it's going to be looked at as a very important game. Also in the Premier League this weekend, Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester United. You might remember they met in the Europa League final last year with Spurs winning 1-0, their first championship trophy in 17 years, first European trophy in a lot longer than that. They finished 15th and 17th in the Premier League last year. This year, by the table, both teams are off to a better start. They have the same number of points, Spurs ahead on goal difference. But both teams have had some struggles, and I don't think either team is fully confident in where their squad is yet this year. Last year, Spurs played Manchester United 4 times and beat them all 4 times. This is going to be looked at as a very important game. It's an important week for Spurs, having a horrible game last Saturday at home against Chelsea. People wondering about their home form. They just haven't played well at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and people trying to figure out why. Well, they have 2 games this week. They have a Champions League game against Copenhagen that they certainly would be expected to win. And then the game on Saturday, 7:30 p.m. our time, against Manchester United. And that will be another game people look at very strongly. One other game in the Champions League, it's the same time as Spurs Copenhagen, same time as Liverpool Real Madrid, but it's another game that people, when the fixtures came out, everybody looked at. Paris Saint-Germain against Bayern Munich. They played in the final back in 2020. They played, both these teams obviously European royalty, and Bayern Munich this year has won every game they've played, not just in the Champions League, not just in the Bundesliga, even in the Cups in Germany. They've won everything. Now they go to Paris, to Parc des Princes, and play the defending champions of the Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain. Both these teams are likely or expected to probably be in the top 8 and skip the playoff and go right into the knockout stage. If you win or lose tonight, probably doesn't impact that too much, although it could impact the seeding. But it's a game people are going to look at and try to figure out, is Paris Saint-Germain still the favorite? Are they still the best team? Or are Bayern, now that they're off to this great start this season, should they be considered maybe the favorite? Those are the games we're looking at in football. Plenty of other games in the Premier League, Bundesliga, Serie A, Europa League, Europa Conference League. Also, obviously, this week, the NFL will have on Sunday night, we have another European game. The Colts are playing against the Falcons on Sunday at 9:30 p.m. live from Berlin, from the Olympic Stadium in Berlin. That's a game people will be watching. The Colts didn't have a good game last Sunday. The Falcons came back and ended up losing because they missed an extra point that could have sent the game to overtime. Both those teams have something to prove going into that game in Berlin. Obviously, we'll also have a full slate of games at 1 a.m. the regular games on Sunday night. Also on Sunday, the Formula One returns this week in Brazil. The Grand Prix is on Sunday at midnight. There's also a sprint race on Saturday night. Any of these points are important in the Drivers' Championship. Lando Norris coming in with a 1-point lead right now over his teammate Oscar Piastri. It looks like Max Verstappen, even with his late run in the season, too far away to win the title again. But the decision between the two McLaren drivers, who's going to win, going into these final 4 races, and with the sprint race this week, an extra few points on offer. So it could be an important weekend in Formula One in Brazil, and we'll have that for you here at Danny's Sports Bar. Come see us.